Thiago linked heavily to Liverpool over the last few weeks. However, Manchester United now apparently very much in the running for the Bayern Munich midfielder.
Yes, obviously people know the deal with Thiago. He's got a year left. Bayern figure, well, if you're not going to extend the contract, and I don't think he's happy to extend the contract on the terms that Bayern have talked about or that he thinks he can get from Bayern, they would look to cash in now. I think the difficulty is, from Bayern's perspective, generating interest because already he's been linked to Liverpool quite strongly. And you want to create an auction, you want to move Liverpool along so that, Liverpool don't come in with a cut rate price, or maybe somebody leapfrogs ahead of them. And I think that's what they're trying to do with Manchester United here, hence the link. For me personally, while you can never have too many creative players, I kind of think that, if you're going to have Pogba and Van de Beek and Bruno Fernandes, even just playing two of those three, you probably want a strong anchor midfielder who can do the grunt defensive work, and that's not Thiago Alcantara. But again, it might be a price at which United says, hey, this is too good a deal to pass up.
Is this a needed addition for Manchester United? Is it necessary?
Well, if you're shipping out others, then you take Thiago in a heartbeat. But you look at the balance that they need in the middle of the park. They've got to do the digging role, they've got Fred, who can do a bit of everything. Got better last year. Nemanja Matic, who can't play a full season anymore, hasn't got the legs to get around because of his age. Got Scott McTominay, who's signed a new deal, but he's a good player, but he's not exactly Roy Keane. And they need somebody in there, I think, that can organise and can do a bit of everything. Can bite, can call people out, can be the leader on the field, and can see the whole picture. And, maybe it's just the price. I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, if I was Thiago and those two clubs were interested, I'd go to Liverpool.
Right.
I'd go to Liverpool. And at the end of the day, if Man United bid a little bit more than Liverpool, then Thiago still holds most of the cards because you don't have to go anywhere unless you want to go. Now, it then becomes a game of bluff, but clearly he would be going into a club that's ready-made to go again in the Premier League, to go again in the Champions League, where United are trying to get back to that level. So I think United's a more difficult sell to the player at the moment.
Ali, are you surprised there aren't more clubs in for Thiago?
In some ways, yeah, because of what we saw from him in Champions League and particularly in the quarterfinals and on, we saw a guy that was truly dominant in the middle of midfield and gave Bayern Munich such a natural outlet coming out of the back and so comfortable with the ball at his feet and in tight spaces, how he gets the ball from one side to the other. And you can give him the ball and he's going to hold on to it and he's going to find the right pass. And so, yes, in some ways I am surprised that there aren't other teams involved in this. But in other ways I'm not, because it's not a sexy position that he plays. It's not the attacking player. It's not the guy who's going to score goals, and it's not a guy who's going to play center back and he's going to keep others from scoring. And so this position, by its own very nature, it's one that you think it's sort of an afterthought for teams. And so Thiago Alcantara is a good deal for Manchester United because of what's happening with his contract. And it's a good deal for Liverpool because of what's happening with his contract. But otherwise, I don't think they would be paying a whole bunch of money to get him.
Gab, what does this all mean regarding Jadon Sancho, of course, a player who's been linked heavily to United throughout the summer? The fact that they're looking elsewhere and looking to spend that big pot on maybe a couple of other players, does that suggest this isn't happening?
Well, look, Mark Ogden and Rob Dawson both reported, I think quite clearly, that United are still interested in Jadon Sancho, and they have a price they're willing to go to, and if it's not going to be this summer, they're confident that they'll get him next summer. The guy plays a different position. He's young. He's English. He's still somebody that United will really, really want, and they'll still want him whether they get him now or whether they get him 12 months from now. I don't think they're giving up on him because they've been linked with Thiago Alcantara. And the other thing to consider with Thiago as well is that his injury record hasn't been great. There's going to be issues with durability, and at his age, he will rightly be looking for a big payday. And this is a guy who's, pushing 30. And in those circumstances, you ask yourself, to what degree does this fit with what Manchester United are trying to do?
No, I think the Jadon Sancho thing is more likely because, as Gab said, the way they're trying to go is a younger player. They seem prepared to spend the money to make sure they're getting a player that is playing well now and playing for the future.
Right.
They've been reluctant to go down the short term. They went down the short term route with the loan signing of the guy that came in from China. His name escapes me. Igalo, the striker. But generally, when they're spending transfer fees, they're looking at guys that they think can get them, for the next decade, or have a big sell-on value if they do really well. So they're looking at assets, and that's where that's why I think United will be. Although Dortmund will try and play the game of bluff, I think eventually United will spend the money to get the player because they know they're going to get the best part of a decade out of this player.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.